What's up, Cowboys Nation? Before we dive into today's breaking topic, I've got one quick favor to ask. Smash that like button right now and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a beat on the Dallas Cowboys. This offseason is heating up, and we are committed, just like the team, to leveling up every single day to bring you real insight, exclusive stories, and the truth behind the headlines. Because, folks, the Cowboys aren't just standing pat. This organization is grinding, improving and perfecting the roster piece by piece. And now, the rumor mill is starting to churn with a familiar name, Jalen Ramsey. Yep, you heard that right. 7-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, one of the most polarizing and elite cornerbacks of the last decade. Jalen Ramsey has suddenly re-entered Cowboys Nation's orbit, and not because of anything happening on the field, but because of a house. Let's break it all down. According to Landon Hollifield, host of The Lando Show, Jalen Ramsey has purchased a house in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's not a rumor, that's confirmed. Hollifield made it clear on his show, "I know for a fact that Jalen Ramsey purchased a house in the FW, Fort Worth. I can't confirm it's for him to live in, and I can't confirm that the Cowboys are actually going to acquire him. But as Cowboys fans, we all know what that means. When a star NFL player buys property in Dallas during the offseason, the alarms go off. We've seen it before. Remember the Derrick Henry rumors? The buzz started the minute he bought a house in DFW. Of course, Henry never ended up wearing the star, and he just sold that estate. But that didn't stop the speculation at the time, and it won't stop it now. So let's ask the question. Could Jalen Ramsey be headed to Dallas? Here's what we do know. The Miami Dolphins are expected to part ways with Ramsey after June 1st. He carries a massive cap hit, $16.67 million this season, ballooning to $25 million in 2026, and a mind-boggling $36 plus $17 million by 2028. The Dolphins need the space, and with no pay cut on the table, Ramsey is on the trade block. Now, would Jerry Jones even entertain the idea? That's where things get a little murky. Cowboys insider Mike Fisher has reported that so far, there's no discussion within the organization about bringing Ramsey aboard, and if we're being real, there are reasons for that. Ramsey is over. 30 years old, and cornerbacks typically start declining fast after that milestone. In fact, last season wasn't his best. Opposing quarterbacks had a 70.8% completion rate and a 93.5 passer rating when targeting him, the highest marks Ramsey has ever allowed in his career. That's not elite shutdown corner stuff anymore. Still, Ramsey is Ramsey. He brings leadership, swagger, championship pedigree. And for a relatively young secondary, especially with Trevon Diggs coming off a serious injury, having a vet like Ramsey to mentor and guide could have value. But here's the catch. Money, and not just Ramsey's. The Cowboys are preparing for a financial storm. Micah Parsons is going to reset the market. That deal is coming. Darren Bland is turning into a star and will need to be paid soon. Jake Ferguson is proving his worth. And let's not forget the team just traded for George Pickens, who, if he delivers, will want a serious contract down the line. Jerry and Stephen Jones have to prioritize their long-term core. Bringing in Ramsey and his huge cap hit would absolutely mess with that plan. But there's another layer to this story, and it could be a big one. As first reported by Dallas, Cowboys on SI safety Donovan Wilson may be on the chopping block. Cutting him after June 1st would free up over $8 million in cap space, and when you look at the current safety room, it's crowded. Marquise Bell, extended. Shwanye Thomas, extended. Israel Mukwamu, still developing and versatile. Wilson, on the other hand, had a down year in 2024. He allowed 31 receptions and ranked 97th among all safeties. According to Pro Football Focus, that's not ideal when you're carrying a decent-sized cap hit. Could the Cowboys be clearing the deck? Could that extra $8 million be used to facilitate something bigger, like, I don't know, a possible Ramsey trade? Look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I am saying this. When Jalen Ramsey buys a house in Dallas, the Cowboys start making small but strategic moves in the secondary, and the Dolphins are ready to cut ties. All those dots start to line up. It's not confirmation, but it's smoke. And where there's smoke, especially in Dallas, there's usually a spark. Micah Parsons turns 26 today, and while fans are sending birthday wishes to number 11 on social media, behind the scenes, there's a very real, very intense contract negotiation happening between Parsons and the Cowboys front office. Now entering his 5th season, Parsons is still playing under the 5th-year option that Dallas picked up. But when this season ends, he'll be a free agent. And folks, big-time players want big-time money. According to Christopher Knox from Bleacher Report, Parsons won't settle for anything less than the richest defensive contract in NFL history. That means he's aiming to surpass Myles Garrett, who just signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with the Browns, $40 million per year, $123.6 million guaranteed. That's the new gold standard. Parsons wants it, and honestly, he deserves to. Be in that conversation. Let's not forget, Micah Parsons is a 2-time All-Pro, the heart and soul of Dan Quinn's former defense, and a certified game-changer on every snap. His speed, his versatility, his football IQ, it's generational talent. Now here's the twist. The Cowboys do hold some leverage. If they don't get a deal done by next offseason, they can slap the franchise tag on him for 2026. That buys them time, but it also creates tension because you don't franchise tag a superstar like Parsons and expect him to smile about it. It's clear that for Parsons, this isn't just about money. It's about respect. It's about being treated like the best defender in the game because he believes he is. Cut to host, leaning in slightly, and maybe he is. But whether that recognition comes from the league or the Cowboys will depend on the deal they put on the table. So where does that leave Dallas? Let's talk about the team's offseason strategy. It started in January when Jerry Jones chose not to renew Mike McCarthy's contract. Instead, he promoted offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer to head coach and signaled a new era in Big D. Schotty came in swinging. First, he reshaped the backfield, adding 2 new veterans and drafting 2 rookies. Then, in a shocking first-round move, Dallas drafted offensive lineman Tyler Booker, signaling a serious commitment to the run game. And finally, just weeks ago, the Cowboys pulled off a stunner, trading for wide receiver George Pickens, a dynamic young playmaker with star potential. Add that to an offense already led by CD Lamb and Dak Prescott, and suddenly you've got a unit with explosive upside. But here's the key. All these moves, smart as they are, don't mean a thing if you can't protect your core. And Micah Parsons is the core of this defense, which brings us to another player, someone who may quietly be one of the most important pieces in this new-look Cowboys team. Fullback Hunter Luepke is not a name that gets national headlines, but inside the Cowboys facility, he's getting plenty of love from new head coach Brian Schottenheimer. He's playing some running back, he's playing some fullback, he's playing some tight end. All he does is do everything well, Schottenheimer told reporters this week, and that's no exaggeration. Luepke is a rare breed, versatile, unselfish, dependable. In a league that's slowly phasing out the fullback position, he's becoming more valuable by doing the opposite, playing everywhere. While the Cowboys' offense goes through a major transformation, Luepke stays steady, ready to block, catch, run, and execute whatever the team needs in that moment. He may not rack up fantasy points, but his role? Crucial. Especially now as Schotty begins molding this offense into something tougher, more adaptable, and more physical than we've seen in years. Imagine Ramsey lined up opposite Trevon Diggs, Darren Bland sliding into the slot where he thrives. That's a dangerous trio, especially if Ramsey only has to take on WR2 or TE coverage duties. The Cowboys' defense was already elite. This could take it to a whole new level, if the numbers work. But Cowboys Nation, this is where you come in. What? Do you think? Should the Cowboys take a shot at Ramsey and go all in for a title while the core is still intact? Or do you think Ramsey's best days are behind him and it's not worth the financial gamble? Should Donovan Wilson be released to create more flexibility? Do you believe Ramsey buying that house means anything at all? Let's talk about it in the comments. I want to hear from every single one of you. And remember, even if this turns out to be just a coincidence, the Cowboys front office is clearly gearing up for something. This team is serious about competing now, and big moves could still be on the horizon. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We're CB, here for you, bringing the facts, the analysis, and everything Cowboys straight from the star. Until next time, how about them Cowboys?